James, welcome to another episode of the Rogue Treatment Podcast.
Hey, we've done a few of these now.
We're going all right.
This time it's without a guest.
Without a guest. It's
I
just
think it
you
might
and
be
I,
better.
my friend.
Might be better. We might get more out of this.
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. I believe so.
No, okay. Thank God, because we've got a smaller table today.
Yeah, last time the table was too big.
But anyways, couldn't fit it through the door. But anyway, we're here. We've got a interesting topic. Something that I think we could speak about forever, but we have to narrow this in and talk about just some of the truths around it. When this was from Pete from Parramatta.
Okay. What did Pete have to say for himself?
Pete from Parramatta said, it seems like there is no career progression as a private practice practitioner. And is this true?
Yeah.
And I think, that's a great question. I mean, when we saw this come up, we thought, well, we need to narrow in on this because there's so much to say. It is definitely up there with the biggest problems that we have in our industry, James.
Yeah.
Would you say? And it's something that we strive to address in our business, to create a pathway to buck the trend of, or that notion of, well, there's, as a private practitioner, you're not going physio, EP, podiatrist, you name it. Yeah, buck that trend of, or that notion of thinking that there's only a certain ceiling you can get to, and that's it. And there's no real career progression. You're either, and some would say, you're either a junior physio and a senior physio. That's really it. I mean,
well, I think that comes from a very different hierarchy, of the way physio businesses were run in the past. That hierarchy of an associate physio, a senior physio, a clinic manager, but then that's it, right? There isn't, if you're working for a clinic that is there's only one clinic, it's run by the owner, or maybe it's a family operation, then there isn't any career progression, and then our industry's been stagnant at that point, right? I pulled up something just to go around that, and I think the biggest difference there between what was done in the past and what's happening now, and where the labor force is going with this, is very dependent on a generational kind of thing. So there's a study done. There's lots of. Let me just start with the general census on this, right? So the study was done by. I had it here 2 seconds ago. Yeah, here it is. So it's Australia's top 100 employers for 2024, and they went through and asked, in particular, they then segmented this, and why I wanted to bring this up was the generational change, right? So Gen Zers are looking for a very different outlook on the workforce than maybe other generations. So where the biggest issue currently lies, before we bring it down to private practice and what that looks like in our health industry, is that the health industry, if it doesn't adapt to this, and the current structures of health businesses can't adapt to this, and if they don't adapt to this, then they're going to lose a lot of these people as they're coming through. So Gen Zers are looking for, the number one thing that they're looking for is competitive salary. 56% of them are looking for competitive salary. Now, in our industry, in private practice, that's easy to do, but hard to achieve. Right? It's hard to achieve if you're not willing to put the output there to achieve that high salary or a competitive salary, right? But then the next biggest thing that they're looking for in any workplace that they're going to work at is career advancement opportunities. 44% of Gen Zers are looking for career advancement opportunities. And the thing there is, right, our industry doesn't allow that. If you're just working in a solo practitioner that maybe has the owner is the owner of the business, the owner still treats, and there's one physio, and maybe it's a mom and pop kind of shop, right? So if 44% of Gen Zers are looking for that as their, the second main thing that they're looking for in their career aspirations, our industry doesn't lend to that, and that's going to have a huge impact in the physio world, or private practice world in the next 5 to 10 years when, and we've got some other stats to go through, but that's a huge impact.
Oh, it sure is. It sure is. And then that definitely plays into then the retention and the retention of staff. If you don't see a future in private practice or in the industry that you're in,
you're
not going to hang around, are you? And you're also not going to be as invested in your day-to-day work. Then you're going to have that disgruntled employer as well, and the employee. It's just a recipe for disaster, and then people are going to leave, right?
Yeah. And the other worrying stat is the number one industry that Gen Zers want to get into is healthcare.
Yeah.
So they want to get into healthcare, which is great, right?
Absolutely.
And healthcare, that's healthcare in general. That could be arranging, different pathways within healthcare. But, healthcare in general won't give you that career advancement opportunity that you're probably looking for. So it's interesting that the majority of them want to get into that. 21%, it's the highest career pathway that Gen Zers want to get into.
Yeah. But
they're looking for advancement opportunities which may not be there, especially if it's in private practice.
Yeah, and I guess you're suggesting that, Pete from Parramatta is correct, really.
He's correct.
There isn't a lot of career progression as a whole.
Yeah.
And let's in private practice.
But I think that comes down to the system.
Yes.
The system, and especially in physiotherapy, of it being, a mum and pop shop.
Yep.
And, that's there's advantages and disadvantages to that.
Yeah.
All right. But, as an employer, if you're wanting to keep and attract quality staff, you have to find ways to adapt.
Absolutely.
To provide a good environment for employees to want to come. And if the stats are showing that employees want advancement opportunities, then you got to start creating a business that will provide that. Otherwise, you will lose good staff.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, it's interesting. Are they going to go sideways to another practice, or are they going to leave and go into another realm of that industry, and we're seeing a lot of that now.
But are they going there because they've realized there's no more opportunities?
The ceiling, maybe. Yeah. Well, in terms of reaching the ceiling, I mean, that's talked about a lot here. We've mentioned that a couple of times. That's because of the service-based industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's only so many hours you can do in a week. There's so many clients you can see during the week. There's only so much you can charge. So there's only so much you can earn. Is that the Achilles heel, for lack of a better pun?
We're talking about there's two options here, right? Career progression or
reaching the ceiling. Is that okay?
Ceiling of earning capacity ceiling?
If we're talking about remunerations, and that's one of the factors that people are moving on, and we've got some stats around that with the census and the 2023 census that. 1 in 5 physiotherapists, can you believe, plan to leave the profession in the next 5 years. So they're already planning. So in the next 5 years, I'm out.
Okay? Is there a breakdown of that?
Yes, there's a breakdown. Now, we talked about remunerations, and that accounts for 45% of those people.
So 45% of people that are leaving the industry is because they've hit an earning ceiling.
Yeah, and then they feel it's an inadequate remuneration is where they're at now. They can't go any further. 45%. It's almost half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1 in 5 physios planning on leaving the next 5 years.
What are the other reasons they're leaving?
Half of them is because of their earning potential. The next one down is mental burnout.
Okay,
at 32%. And then what we're talking about today is 24% lack of career progression. So I guess that comes hand in hand with those two, really.
Yeah.
If you feel like your remunerations are inadequate and there's no career progression, maybe that's going to burn you down even further. And then the last piece of that pie is they're considering retirement. So,
okay, what was that percentage?
31%.
So 31% are considering retirement.
Yeah.
Is there any other age breakdown in those? Is there like
no? There's no age breakdown. The average age of physio is 36.
Average age of physio is only 36.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. That's not private practice though. That includes our hospital setting.
Okay.
Which I think definitely, plays a role in skewing the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
private
practice would definitely be.
There's that other worrying article that came out from, was it the APA that released it last year?
Yeah.
That's what the average time frame a physio was in the industry for?
Yeah.
Do we have that?
No, we don't. Once again, I found that difficult to actually split between private practice when I was doing my research and public setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is alarming though, and it's our, if we go back to the remuneration issue, being a factor and reaching their ceiling, and that is because, like you say, I guess as an employer, as a business owner, the business is not equipped to then show the next step or the next milestone to go beyond. Being fully booked and treating the most amount of clients they can. Is it just there's no next step after that, and so in that case they just leave, or you become a business owner? Is that the biggest?
Well, let's talk about. Well, it depends. Like I think in the last episode we talked to Emily and we asked her that question at the end, and she said, "Well, the sky's the limit if you're a business owner." And of course, the sky's the limit if you're a business owner, but doesn't necessarily mean that your earning capacity increases if you don't know how to run a business, right? That's the reality as well. But let's go back to the number one reason that people are leaving the industry. It was 44%, was it?
45%.
45% because of lack of financial incentive.
Yeah.
Now, I don't necessarily see it as an incentive, right? Sorry, as a ceiling. Inadequate remuneration. Okay. So this is where I think a lot of people have issues in terms of when you're in a private setting, it's very different when you're in a public setting because a public setting, there is a structured wage or structured salary, progression, right? Dependent on experience, dependent on, knowledge, dependent on tenure, right? Whereas in a private setting, and this goes for any private business, the ceiling comes down to your ability to sell. There is no part in any private business, right, where the ceiling should be capped. And the ceiling is only there if you don't have the ability to sell. Now, why that is an issue in the health industry is because, number one, we're not trained, nor is it normal for us to think that way, which is completely fine. But then we need to have a look at why that ceiling is there. Is the ceiling there because, if you are fully booked, if you are charging what you're worth and not earning what you want to be earning, what's that reason for that there? Yeah. But if you're not fully booked, if you're not charging what you're worth, then, and you're not earning what you want, whose fault's that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do a lot of research around, the areas that we have the clinics and what people are charging and all those kind of things. And at the end of the day, irrespective of what you're charging as a practitioner, there is obviously reasons as to why you're charging that price. Yeah, you're not charging that price. If you're charging that price because you just did comparative research and everyone's charging $120, so I'll charge $120, but then you've got no clients, I think that's a inability to sell, and that's where the ceiling then comes to.
Yeah.
And it's not about, and I, we've talked in the past about the notion of sales. We did the podcast on that, right? And how there's a voodoo around that. But at the end of the day, if you want to work in the private practice space, and that is the number one reason that people are leaving, I think we need to have a look at first of all, why that ceiling is there. And I think that ceiling is there because you don't have the ability to sell.
Well, that's really interesting because we know that, most clinics are probably underperforming, and we talk about becoming a business owner and then your ceiling's endless. But really, a lot of business owners don't actually succeed past a couple of years, right? So, but if there's no real incentive for someone to then reach a milestone, which is going to, get them to the next point in their career pathway, then that's going to then, or if they feel like they can't reach it, or they don't have the inner drive to actually reach it, then are we just using that as a fallback on, okay, well, I'm never going to reach that point. I can't sell myself. I can't sell my services, and I don't want to put the hard work in. We talk about mental burnout as one of the factors. So that's it. It's just there's no career progression, full stop.
Yeah, well, if we want to talk about, so there's two aspects there, right? If we want to talk about the mental burnout aspect and then the career progression aspect, right? Let's go with the mental burnout. Mental burnout is exactly what it says. That is a mental ceiling, not a physical ceiling.
Yeah.
We are physically always capable of doing more. We're just not mentally there, right, to do more.
Yeah.
So we need to then come back to why that mental burnout is there. And I personally think, what was that number? We said 21% of Gen Zers want to get into the healthcare workforce.
Yeah.
Huge. Right? Which is huge. So 1 in 5 people that are aged anywhere over, I think it's 15 to 24. Is that the Gen Z age group? And I reckon if you then look at 25 to 34, it would have probably been just as high. That a high portion of that cohort or that generation wanted to get into healthcare as well. But do they understand what they're getting themselves into at that point in time?
Absolutely not.
Do they understand that it is a difficult and hard job? It's not a job where you're sitting at a desk. It's not an office job. You are dealing with people's problems. And so then is the mental burnout that they didn't realize what they were getting themselves into.
Absolutely. And they compare themselves. Like if you compare yourself at 24, early 20s, finishing uni maybe, and your friends from school are going into an office job, maybe, where they can absorb a little bit more. Maybe they're going to get in a little bit more money potentially, but your ceiling's actually your great opportunity there if you sell yourself well and you treat, you get busy and you create a demand for yourself. But they see their mates sitting behind the desk or sitting at home or, a little bit more flexible with their sort of lifestyle, and they think, I can't be asked for this hard work. That means I have to be face to face with people. I have to, turn up to work every day. I can't have an off day. If I have an off day, then that's going to hurt me for weeks to come. Or if I can't just call in sick and there's clients waiting for me, sort of thing. That I'm sure adds to that sort of mental burnout. And then sort of like the perception of, where am I going? Can I do this for the rest of my life? Is this for me? You know what I mean? I want to do less but get more, like that whole entitlement.
Yeah, look, that's a whole issue. That's a whole other issue. Right? But if
it's
we
definitely something we've got happening though.
Yeah,
in the industry for sure.
If we go back to that though, like I can tell you from when I graduated and when I got into the industry, I don't know if it's the same now, right? But when you compare my earning potential as a new grad physiotherapist versus someone that was starting an office job in the same time, my earning potential was higher, right? My earning potential was higher at that period of time because of the industry demands, right? And yes, the fact that from day one, there is a structure for me to earn commissions, which is completely on to me to earn that. Some of my mates that went into office-based jobs, and you're starting at the bottom of the pecking order as a junior, may not have that earning potential for commissions at that start point, right? Now, there may be a quicker career trajectory, at that point in time where maybe an office job, it might accelerate a bit quicker. But over time, I don't think that there's necessarily a point where, you know, just because you're in an office job, you're going to earn more, right? Or like I know guys that work office jobs that worked much longer hours than I did to earn a shitload less than I did. Now, where the barrier for our industry is that it needs to continue, that we have to improve and develop ourselves to increase our ceiling of earning potential. Sometimes in an office job, it's you do really good on one job or one project, you get that promotion that maybe exponentially increases your salary for that one period in time, but doesn't necessarily mean that keeps happening. With our job, we have to be constantly at it. And I think when it comes back to the stats, you know, and we look at mental burnout, which is the second one on there, I think it's from the fact that maybe whoever is thinking this, or the majority, or like 20% of physiotherapists are experiencing this, right, is because maybe they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. And it's not, I'm not having a go at anyone there, but that's just the reality.
Oh, it's not easy.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Absolutely.
I can categorically tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, I may have done something different if I knew exactly, to be honest. But I think, and that's the thing. It isn't an easy industry to get into. You need to sort of want it. And we hear people say, you know, we talk about this a lot, that people always say in the first interview, I want to help people. And I think there's good job satisfaction. So there's a lot of pluses that we get out of our,
but that's not something that
industry. But
they're interested in. Like there's no thing here that says that there's job satisfaction in what people are looking for. Again, we're looking at Gen Zers, and the reason why, you know, I brought that up is because majority of people are probably looking for a job right now are Gen Zers. You know, your millennials and what's the other generation? Anyone else?
Someone else, yeah.
But they're probably not looking for jobs right now.
Yeah, that's
you know, and if they are, they'll probably find a job pretty easy in our industry. If they're good at what they do, they'll find a job very easy in our industry, right? So majority of people that are having these difficulties, and you know, if 31% are considering retirement, I would say the rest are within the first year or up to 10 years of their career, right? Because we know that private practice physios really only last 4 to 5 years, right?
Yes.
So we're talking Gen Z generation here, right?
Yeah.
That are then where majority of these stats would come from.
Yeah, it's alarming. It definitely is. I think that's why, as business owners, we've tried to create, you know, a brand that people want to actually work in and work for. People come to work and want to be there. I think that has been the biggest thing, right?
You have to cultivate that as an employer.
But then also, and something that I followed is the 6 steps that we have to becoming a business owner. And if a business owner is the one to reach the ceiling after commissions and what have you, and filling out your book and your hours during the week and what have you, if after that it is becoming a business owner, then you need to know how the steps to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we definitely value is those 6 steps. And it's then up to the personnel to actually have the drive to reach each milestone. There's 6 milestones before you're sort of ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like that takes a certain person, and probably people don't realize that they're getting themselves into that when they start, right?
Well, the thing is, like I said earlier, you know, that's what we've tried to do there. When you talk about those 6 steps, is, you know, that was probably some of the biggest feedback that we got early on as a business was, what does my career progression look like? It was probably the number one question we got in job interviews and in reviews with our own staff. And that was something that I in particularly took away and was like, okay, cool. Well, if this is what people are looking for, you know, as any business owner wants to keep good quality people within the business. One, because you want good people around. It's fun to be around good quality people, right? The second thing is it helps grow your business in reality. And then the third thing is, you want someone to achieve something in their career and say that you're a part of that, right? So as a business owner, it made sense to find a way to cultivate that for the right people, right? That's how we came up with those 6 steps, right? But yeah, at the same time, it's probably not the norm within a private practice industry.
No way.
Because that does involve then expansion plans. Because if people do want to become business owners, not saying all of them do. When we've sat down and we look at the career progression for some practitioners, it's not always to be a business owner, right? Some yes, some no. So it's then how do you create those milestones that help them progress in their career? That is the key there, right? That's where you want to be at. But as a business, you have to cultivate that. A mom and pop shop, and I'm not having a go at that, right? But it's just how it's described, right? A mom and pop shop don't necessarily have the career progression plans for the average practitioner. We have purposely tried to steer away from that. We're not just a mom and pop shop. We do have plans to grow as a business, which then allow us to provide career progressions. That's the difference. Not everyone can do that.
It changes the whole model, doesn't it?
It changes your model. It changes your model as business.
Yeah. And there's one stat here as well. This came in the census as well from the APA 2023, that 1 in 3 physiotherapists don't intend to pursue the physiotherapy career pathway.
Once they graduate?
Yeah.
So 33% of physiotherapists that graduate don't...
Sorry, I've completely misread that.
Okay.
It's 1 in 3 physiotherapists intend to pursue the physiotherapy career pathway. So it's only 1 in 3. I know.
Wait, so 66% don't?
Yes. Well, I assume there's only 1 in 3 that do. And is that because of a lack of confidence in the career pathway?
First of all, holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No. Well, and that answers a lot of questions as to the reason why there's issues around, staffing of physiotherapists at the moment.
Yeah.
If 1 in 3 continue that career path and the other 66% don't,
I mean,
that's a huge issue for the industry.
There'll be some people there that don't want to, and they just want to, do their hours and go home and not pursue a future or career pathway. They just want to do that same, same day, week in, week out. And but it's alarming, isn't it? Only 1 in 3.
I find,
and once again, you're baffled.
I'm
once
so
again,
baffled.
The biggest reasons is back to the financial incentive, and we touched on commission structures that I would assume most clinics use.
I've heard some horror stories out there, but
another pod, eh?
Maybe another pod.
But also seeing no further salary growth potential. So, back to what we were saying before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gobsmacked at that because, that's a huge number of people that have zero intention to be in the industry. And, what follow-on impact that has is if they're even in the industry for any period of time and they, the fact that we're dealing with other people's problems and you're not 100% focused, not 100% there, you're massively tarnishing the industry that then you'll leave an impact on someone who then will say, oh, physiotherapy is shit.
Well,
that can't, but that stigma's there already.
That's sticking. Like Pete from Parramatta, if that was, that's where that questions come from. Yeah. Like, it's almost like a known thing that there is no career pathway. Yeah. So, 1 in 3 think the same thing. So, 2 in 3 think the same thing. Yeah. It's
But again, I come back to the fact that maybe they didn't realize what they're getting themselves into.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It isn't easy.
No. But whether it be career progression or whether it be, salary earning potential, maybe they wanted to get into physiotherapy because they wanted to be involved in sports.
Yeah.
You know, but we live in a country where there's not many professional sporting teams.
That's right.
So, you know, the opportunities there are very limited.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if 66% of people wanted to be involved in sports and they realized at some point within their degree that, holy shit, I can't work in sports, that's going to make people, you know, disinterested in the industry for sure.
And then that's why the career lifetime of a physio in a hospital setting or a public setting is greater than it is in a private practice setting, unfortunately.
But even if you look at the statistics of, you know, where the most need for physiotherapy is, and it's not in an active population under 40.
That's right.
You know, the highest need for physiotherapists are geriatrics, are people that
weekend warriors.
You know, well, but that'd still be active population under 40, right? It's still a small percentage. The average client would not be a weekend warrior under 40. You can cultivate that. You can definitely create that niche, but it's not where majority of the work lies, unfortunately.
That's definitely not what people think getting into it, do they?
No, they probably don't think they're going to be massaging some 80-year-old. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Or helping Betty who can't get out of a chair.
That's right.
That's probably not where they're thinking, and maybe that's where the biggest issue lies. They don't know what they're getting themselves into.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, James, and we could talk about this forever.
We could. I'm still gobsmacked about the 1 in 3.
It's alarming because obviously our industry is so important.
Yeah.
And we need good physios, we need good private practice practitioners, and you know, we need people to want to do that work, and that sort of definitely has changed in the workforce. And hopefully with what we've created, obviously the 6 steps definitely play a massive, you know, help with retention of good staff and with the model of growing. And I guess you have to be a part of an ambitious group to actually see that career pathway.
100%.
Oh dear.
Well, let's finish off with
let's round it off.
Another question from a viewer. So Daniel Espina has asked a sport question, and it's, why was Thierry... Now, as I read this question, it's a very he's directed this in a certain way, but we're gonna have to change this. But I'll read the question, right? Tell me. Because he's kind of answered his own question in the way that it's asked, and I know Daniel, and he's biased to this player and this team, right? So why was Thierry Henry the greatest and most successful overseas player to ever play in the English Premier League? All right, so he's basically saying that he was, but let's argue that he wasn't, and let's come up with someone else.
Player, right?
Overseas player to play in the Premier League.
Luis Suarez, Fernando Torres.
Okay, no, you don't start going down the whole freaking Liverpool pathway.
What do you mean? There's no other... but if you're talking about successful players, they would have had to play for Liverpool at some stage.
Hang on, let's go back to the fact that success involved, and he has put the Premier League, so we're talking modern day English football. We're talking 1992, post 1992, right?
Yeah.
So if we're talking post 1992...
Foreign players,
Mate. The most successful player, foreign player, is Ryan Giggs.
Okay. Ryan Giggs, and very successful. Obviously, he somehow found a team that just kept winning trophies and made the team.
But the question is, greatest and most successful.
Look, he's up there.
Well, who's your number one?
Jerzy Dudek. Did you see that 2005?
Oh, come on.
Champions League final.
We'll say he won 1 Champions League.
Yeah, amazing.
Cool.
Look, it's worth noting that Thierry Henry had some career at Arsenal.
He did have some career.
And he was Arsenal. He changed that club.
Without Thierry Henry, Arsenal would still be nothing like they are now.
Amazing. But they didn't win a whole lot when he was there.
I don't think they won anything. Maybe they won like an FA Cup or something.
Ryan Giggs.
Yeah. Oh, they did win a couple of Premier Leagues. They didn't win a Champions League. Look, he's a great player. Thierry Henry is a great player.
You've hit the most successful timing with Ryan Giggs because his career was just perfect timing. But if he was playing now...
So what are you saying, that he's not a good player?
No, he'd get into the Man United team now because they're rubbish, but he wouldn't get into the Liverpool team now.
I don't think anyone wants to get into the Liverpool team anyway.
I'll give you that. But Thierry Henry, not successful enough.
Not the greatest overseas player to play in the Premier League.
Yeah, right up there, though. Right up there. Changed the game. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well,
far out. We didn't mention
Ronaldo.
No, it's actually got to be Ronaldo.
But you could talk again if you're going to talk success. What about Drogba? Now he probably didn't score as many goals as Henry, so Henry might have him there.
Yeah,
but in terms of success, he'd be up there.
Like Erling Haaland. I know it's only like 3 seasons or something he's had. I think.
Oh, well, then you'd go Kevin De Bruyne, Gondwan. Like any foreigner from that, any foreigner from the current Manchester team have won 4 Premier Leagues in a row. Like that's unprecedented.
Yeah.
I think you could say any foreigner from the Manchester City current team.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Which is all 35 of them. There's only Kyle Walker, I think, John Stones.
And John Stones are the only English players in there.
So who was this from that?
So Daniel,
I would say Cristiano Ronaldo for me. You're saying
Cristiano Ronaldo, okay.
You're saying
he's the greatest and most successful player.
Yeah. He changed the game for the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's not just what he did on the field, I think. He brought a whole personality, and all that came from what he did in the Premier League.
You didn't go with a Liverpool player.
It hurts me.
Okay.
I could go Jersey Dudek. Fernando Torres, unbelievable. Luis Suarez.
Look, Fernando Torres, Luis Suarez are great, but it says greatest and successful.
Yeah. It has to be Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
As much as I hated playing against him. Not personally, but
yeah. As a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I didn't think of Cristiano Ronaldo. I think that throws a spanner in the works. But if you're going to talk success, I have to go with Ryan Giggs.
If we've missed anyone, please comment.
Yes, comment below.
I want to know.
We would love to know who you think is the greatest and most successful overseas player in the English Premier League.
Yeah.
And that's modern day.
Outside of Thierry Henry, Ryan Giggs, and Cristiano Ronaldo.
And we talked about any foreigner from the current Manchester City team.
Yeah. Very good.
But I'd love to know who you think is the best.
I think we've got to be missing someone. Anyway.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much. Remember, guys, subscribe, like, let us know what you want to...
Share the reels.
Let us know what you want us to talk about. We're loving all the topics that we're getting thrown our way.
Yeah.
We've got one more topic to pull out of the hat for the next one.
You're pulling this one out. It's in your stinky boot, man.
I forgot. I didn't actually have it on. But anyways. Yeah.
Nah,
it's a clean shoe. Come on.
I don't know if Simon likes putting the shoe on the table.
Deal with it, Simon. Right. Oh, we're going a different direction, James. In today's economy, what are the 3 things that you should be doing as a business owner to survive this recession? From Talal in Yaguna. Thanks, Talal.
Yeah. All right. That's a really cool topic.
Wow. There you go.
I like that. We'll have to get someone... can we get someone on maybe that knows a bit about...
Let's do that.
Maybe like a business guru.
Yep.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got a couple up my sleeve.
Are you thinking of someone?
Reaching out to you.
All right. Well, if you get his call, make sure you answer it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, James.
Thanks,
Going rogue again.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.